Hi, I hope this video will be extremely helpful for you today. We're going to be talking about grace amid or in the middle of hardship, finding serenity in life's storms. We've been talking about life storms, and so some of the things that I'm going to focus on today, they're going to be on marriage, how marriage falls into these things, and maybe having a extremely difficult child, and finances. And I think I'm going to touch on those as I want to just make this be like a chat with you, as if you were sitting down at the table with me in my kitchen. I have a nice big table, and I can make you coffee, or you can have tea or whatever. And that's something that is often come up missing in our society today. It's something that I did when I was younger with people, and it just seems to be something that it's much harder to do today. So, finding grace in the middle of a hardship so that you find serenity in your peace, in the middle of all that. It's hard. Your journey in life isn't easy, and that takes courage, faith, and a resilient belief that we are never alone. You might hear me talk about that a lot. And every hardship presents an opportunity for us to grow. And as I look back over a very, very difficult period of my life where we were raising our kids, two of them were very difficult, and one of them was more subtly difficult, and the other one was more out there. And so it's a chance to deepen our faith. And as I look back, I can remember some times where I prayed harder, it seemed like, and my faith was so strong, because when you're going through a situation like that, if you're seeking out God, it just is such a strong feeling of His presence that you're going to have during that period of your life. And so finding peace so that you can embrace God as He's caring for you and upholding you through that situation is what we want to find. I want to be able to help you find that. So I don't know whether you're facing a financial situation, or a teenage problem, or even with a younger child. They can be very difficult. And I don't care what the books say and what the podcasts say. In reality, all the solutions that are out there, you can be facing some very difficult situations, and you might have no answers. And I don't know if I'm going to give you answers other than to encourage you to turn to God. So, and just reassure you of His presence during those situations. So, our difficulties in life, it's like a canvas that God's painting our life on, and He's making this canvas beautiful, and you are the canvas, and He is making you beautiful through the situation you're facing. So say that you have financial challenges, and how can you overcome them? So I don't know. I have a budget. And yet, even though we have a budget, we right now are going through kind of a tight time financially, and it's not like it's super serious, but if we don't watch it, it could become that. So that you have to have a budget, and then both partners, your husband and the wife, have to agree with it and live within it, which becomes really complicated because of the credit card. We used to take the credit card when we went through times like this, and if the credit card was the problem of the situation, or making it worse, which often is the case, because what do you do when you don't have money today? You charge it. And what do you do if I find it more complicated to pay bills these days, because they want you to go, they want to not send you the actual bill in the mail. They want you to go paperless, which then causes a problem, because then they want you to put it on your charge card, or they want you to go into automatic payments. And we have a situation right now where that's more difficult, that's easier, because our bills are spread over the whole month, where I used to pay them at the end of the month or the very beginning of the month to get them there on time. And so I pay all my bills online. Nothing's paid through checks anymore. And so I had to go to having them online and having as many of them automatic as possible, but you still have to schedule them, or at least I do in my case. I have some of them that are automatic, some of them scheduled, so it's very complicated, as you can imagine. Part of that's because I live in one state half the year and another state the other half the year, so that rerouting the mail, the bill doesn't get to you on time, so that we had to go to the paperless stuff. So when you use your credit card, like, you can't chop it up anymore. We've done that. You can't put it in a plastic container and with water and freeze it, so you have to think by the time you thought to use it. So some of these things don't work. You can cut it up, but it's still there on Amazon or wherever you use it. The number's still there, so that I can joke with my husband, well, give me the credit card, let's get rid of it. It doesn't work. So you have to be more diligent, more determined that you are going to have self-control over your spending. And that means that you don't create a situation where, well, I wanted to do that and I had to do that, and I'm doing this for you to control this situation with the wires of all my devices. I hate all those wires. You can't do that anymore. You can't just get rid of the credit card and cut it up or put it nice. It doesn't work. So you have to be more determined, more diligent to see what the Bible says and to follow that. And and trusting God is the same today as it was yesterday with the finances, where you believe that God is really going to help you in that situation and help and indwell you so that you learn how to do it. And pray for your husband, pray for yourself, because I can be as bad as, and with things I buy, digital products or like a sweater, clothing, as I walk through Walmart or whatever. So that it just can be a problem, but it's going to take trust in God and a self-control. And that's one of the fruits of the Spirit, and that goes over even into money. One of the things that I can give for a practical faith tip for finances is to budget prayerfully and involve God in your financial planning and seek His wisdom. And the second one is to testify. Share your struggles with your husband and allow him to be part of it, instead of doing your thing with the money and he's doing his thing with the money, and yet your money is one bunch of money, right? So that's the thing to do with the money. Okay, so say you're having problems with navigating the choppy waters of parenthood, and you're dealing with a difficult teenager, or this could apply to a younger child. You could have teething issues and trying to get them to sleep through the night. Anything can be something that's very difficult. And it can seem like you're navigating a ship in a restless storm. And trust me, I know, because I've been through all these situations. I've had an impossible situation with a couple of our teenagers. And then there are others that have problems that don't tell you till they grow up, because they were able to hide it from you. But it's still a sin problem. So you can get through this, and you may not be able to encourage the kids to follow the Lord. You may try, but they're going to make their choices. And that's one mistake that I made, where I thought that if I raised them in a way, like read the Bible to them and encouraged them, we prayed together as a family, we tried our best to live in a way that was right before them. But the problem is, we're human. We're like, I can be a messy mom. Hormones are raging during those years. So it's real. It's a struggle. And so the things that you can do is listen and love. Open your heart. Hear their struggles with your kids. I remember one time when we were having a difficult time with one of our children, we had ice cream like unexpectedly when that child didn't deserve it. And as a teenager, they were old enough to understand. It wasn't a situation where you're spoiling a younger child and saying, well, here, have some ice cream, and to try to get them out of that funky attitude. it's like I remember seeing on that child's face that disbelief that we were actually doing that for her and with her. So to have patience in prayer is another one. To have patience that can move mountains and believe. And I'm in the situation where my kids are grown. So with some of them, it's believing that even though 10 years has gone by, that things can change, that God can still speak through and into their lives. And all these things can affect your marriage. And to embrace each other and through the turmoil and know that God is working, and to try to do things to encourage your husband, since you're women in this, and to know that God can work in your marriage too, and to not throw in the towel and not give up on your marriage. That is so much out there with the world. I'm sure we could have, my husband and I, we could have gotten divorced because in our society, with the problems we had, people would tell you, oh, yes, get divorced. You're incompatible. You have incompatible differences. But that's not a good enough reason, because in the first place, a husband and a wife, we're polar opposites in the first place. Husbands will respond differently than a wife will to the situation. And so that it's just the grace of God that we need in our marriages, to learn to understand the other person, to learn to listen, to echo back what they just said, to not be disrespectful to them, even if it gets heated in your discussions. And it can get heated just because you're just frustrated and you just don't understand each other, and because you're human. And even with a friend that's in a very, very difficult situation, more difficult than I have ever known, she still is so faithful to stay in her marriage and do her best to encourage her husband. And if you're in a dangerous situation, I'm just going to tell you, go find your pastor or a pastor or a counselor and get counseling, and you might have to remove yourself from that situation. Companion on the path to grace is the Lord first off. And that's the Lord. He's going to come and meet you. You're going to reach out to him and seek his face diligently. And whatever your struggle is, he will, with his everlasting love, and just wrap you up in his arms. And with God's help, getting through any kind of these three situations that you might have, you will be unstoppable because God is living in and through you. You can connect to your children and encourage them, accept them where they're at, if they're adults now, or even as young people. And if they're grown-ups, don't try to change them. Don't try to tell them how to live their lives. They're making their decisions now, and you can't do that at this point. But you can love them, and you can reach out to them and be there for you. That child of mine, difficult when during her teenage years, always wants to talk with me and pour out her heart to me, which gives me an in to have an encouragement to her life and allow the Lord to work through me in some way. And also, I want to say that if it's with your children, to be open that somebody else may be able to reach your child, not you, or just the Lord himself through his Holy Spirit, because you're praying for them. There's so many testimonies of that type of thing, of a mother praying and the child stops what they're doing or about to do that's very, very bad, and to turn around and turn to the Lord. You are not alone. And so let's lift up each other and encourage each other in whatever situations we have. And reach out to me. I can encourage you. I can counsel you on the situation you're having. And you can have serenity or peace in the middle of a very difficult situation, and know God is with you. And I know you can, because I've been through some of these very difficult situations. And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that God was with me, even in the smaller issues I face sometimes day to day or every once in a while. I know God is with me, and I can feel his presence, and he can be there for you too.